What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 72. Sorry, something just flickered on my screen for a little bit. Episode 72 of the College Loop Podcast. Full house yet again. And let's start off with Tarr, because he just had to wake up. Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, I'm good. Just had to bump a little Kendrick, putting in a lot of hours at work this week right now with the making bacon. But you know what? We're having a great season. The guys aren't, but we're the vibes are high. The boys are 1-4, so the vibes there are probably low in the locker room. But my vibes, I'm bringing a lot to the table. I let my interns pick out my headgear today. They went with just the headband. So we're having a lot of fun with it. They're listeners. Some of them are listeners to the Loop now, actually, by the way, not making that up. So that's super, super cool. And now we're doing great. Daniel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing real good. Went out, played a round of golf today, shot low. Just enjoying another summer day here in the Northeast.
Daniel, quick question. Are you guys affected by any of the wildfire smoke right now?
No, okay, we're far enough away.
Far enough away. Okay, I didn't know. That's just crazy, man. That's nuts. Anyways,
you see, that's why when you're the New York Yankees and you contaminate the state of New York, it's just karma, man.
No, let's talk Auburn ball.
Let's talk Auburn football, baby. And again, we're going to start with a little discussion talking about would a 9-game conference schedule benefit Auburn as a whole. And I'll start off with Daniel.
Sure. Thank you for starting off with me. It's always good to go first. In time, I think so. Now, no. Because you see, Auburn's at a point where the on-field product is still in development. It's getting there. It will be better in 2023 than it has been in 2022 and 2021. I can confidently say that. But right now, the idea of more SEC football for this team is a scary, scary thought. But in time, I think we could get to a point where I could confidently say, hell yeah, let's take on the world. But kind of to contradict myself, we already have to play Alabama. We already have to play Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas. Definitely all the tougher half. Really the only one of the SEC teams that we don't have on the schedule already who is in that upper echelons, Tennessee and South Carolina and Florida. But so, I mean, I can see the argument of what could it hurt? But for right now, I'm going to say no.
Well, it would be going into the 2024 season where it looks like the SEC is not going to have divisions. No more East or West, just top two, just go out in the SEC championship, which is at this moment in time, if that was to happen this year, it'd be either LSU, Georgia, or Alabama.
So that'll be conference win percentage, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and tiebreakers would be just head-to-head or common opponents?
Yep.
Okay.
And if there were to be a 9-game season, I believe it would start probably 2024, 2025 with the inclusion of Texas, Oklahoma. But they've already decided they're not doing that. But a few coaches have decided they wouldn't mind it, but did not put up big enough of a fight to actually get it, i.e. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, who said they just want to play. But yeah, Tarr, what are your thoughts on the 9-game conference schedule?
You know, this is an interesting conversation that's really kind of picked up some traction since we heard about it the past couple of days. And with the inception of Texas and Oklahoma heading to the SEC. Also, side note, something people aren't talking about, I don't think Texas and Oklahoma for their first 2 years can compete for an SEC championship. I think that's the NCAA rule if they're going to jump out of contract. But it's not going to matter. They're not going to compete for an SEC championship anyways. I'll go and tell you that. I don't think that matters. But all this to say, I think a 9-game season isn't – 9 SEC game season, rather – I think it's a good thing. Auburn specifically, I think it's a good thing. You look at what all is coming in the near future in college football. Let's look at the expansion of the college football playoff. And let's look at what some people call as SEC bias, what I call just straight up correct judgment in terms of the selection committee for the college football playoff. People come at me sideways all the time saying, oh, there's SEC bias, whatever, you're an SEC homer. It's just simply professional football. It's what it is. And I think actually – if you give every team one more chance to lose, and I know that's kind of the twisted way Auburn fans are not going to want to think about it. You want to think about it as another chance to win, right? And that certainly can bolster your resume. But if you give every team in the conference one more chance to lose, you kind of free up what could be those, like Daniel mentioned, those one having to go to the head-to-head common opponents. And B, you'll have another quality opponent on your resume. We have problems all the time with SEC teams not scheduling P5 non-con opponents. I mean, it is a reoccurring issue. There have been years in recent Auburn memory where there was not a non-con P5. And ultimately, that is detrimental if you want to be in the conversation at the end of the year for a college football playoff berth. Conference championships are important now, but you expand the playoff, and it doesn't matter as much. I'm not saying you don't want to win a conference championship. Now you win in the P5 and you're in, probably, more than likely. Whatever the P5, P4, two-conference world looks like here in the next half decade. I think it benefits Auburn tremendously. You operate under the assumption that there will be a couple of maintained rivalries that you'll play every year. I have a hard time. We talked about this on the show. I have a hard time seeing anyone saying, first off, Auburn's never going to not play Alabama. That's just never going to happen. Period. It would have to be literally like COVID on steroids to cancel the Iron Bowl. But more importantly, you'll have a couple of protected rivals. You'll have your arch rival in this scenario, and then rival B, which in my opinion is Georgia. I think almost everyone would agree with me there. But you mix up the field, so you've got kind of an even distribution of SEC top to bottom. Which, I mean, we talk about this all the time. There's good competition everywhere in the SEC. I think it helps. I mean, if you get a shitty draw that year, so be it. It's going to be on a rotation. I mean, they're going to have to. You can't just randomize the deck of cards every single year. It doesn't make sense. But in that regard, you get an extra P5 opponent to either A, grab your bowl eligibility. I know you want to do that against a cupcake. Suck it up, Buttercup. This is football. And B, if you're a bubble team, and let's be honest here, fellas, in recent memories, when Auburn is in the college football playoff conversation, by definition, a bubble team, right? If there was such a thing at the time. There certainly is now. There are certainly now bubble teams. It helps you. And if you get another loss on your record, so be it. I mean, at this point, everyone's playing for college football playoff or bust at this level of the game. It's not, we're not in the SoCon playing, we're not in the Sun Belt playing for, who gets to go to the Liberty Bowl this year. And that's nothing wrong with that. I'm not downplaying that. But what I'm saying is, these teams are legitimately jockeying to be in the college football playoff or bust. I think it helps.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. And if you go into the new 12-team playoff, look out, and it's going off Power 5 rules as it stands right now. The first all the Power 5 teams get like automatic bids, the Power 5 champions, they all get bids, and also the top Geo 5 team gets a bid as well. So Tulane would have been in this past year's playoff if it were to go into that.
So how do you pick the top group of 5 team?
It's like highest ranked. So okay. Tulane was the highest ranked no matter what. So they would have been like they probably would have been like a 6 or 7 seed more than likely. I think that's how that goes, or a 12 seed. I think it just depends on how the rankings really go. They're just trying to find a way to get Geo 5 teams in more than likely. But yeah, going to the night
swimmingly the first time.
Cincinnati played pretty well against Alabama, but just going into just a 9-game schedule, yeah, you get every team about 1 or 2 year, and maybe one of those years you'll get like a Vanderbilt, a Florida, who I don't think Florida is as good as probably Florida fans think they are. Ole Miss fans or Ole Miss in general, I don't think. I think they're competitive.
Going taking strays at Ole Miss.
Well, if you get a year where you have to play Alabama, LSU, and Georgia, who are probably going to be your 3 mainstays of any schedule, no matter how it gets fixed, you also have to mix in that you're going to get different home and away games against different teams. Like one year you can have a home and home with Vanderbilt, and if you can find a way to play lose only 1 or 2 of the games with Alabama through Georgia and LSU, Auburn can get 9 wins out of like a Vanderbilt. Oklahoma, I don't think is where they usually are at all. Texas is a wishy-washy team. Tennessee, we don't know if they're here to stay just yet. South Carolina is the same way. I mean, you could sneak in a few more of those wins, and I mean, with a 12-team playoff, Auburn can sneak into that as well with a 9-game conference schedule. Because if Auburn finishes 3rd or 4th in the SEC, you can't keep that team out of the playoff.
No, you can't. Speaking of Texas, just super quickly, verbal meme. I just need a verbal meme real quick. In recent years, this is true. Someone needs to make, and I want it to be one of the College Loop fans. This is going to be fantastic, and I'm going to use this football season. I need the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other where it's Tennessee and Texas. Because those 2 programs, aside from the fact that they both start with a T, they're both UT. Aside from that, their recent track record, that tracks. That is a good verbal meme, in my opinion. I think Heupel's doing a great job, and he could completely debunk that. But like Tennessee, Texas is going to feel right. Just that's the side note. That's going to feel correct.
They should definitely both wear their home jerseys for the games.
Oh, you'll still know who's who.
Yeah, one's a bright orange, and the other one's a really dark, weird-looking orange.
One's an ugly orange. The other one is also an ugly orange.
There you go.
It's truly remarkable.
And whoever wins that gets to be UT for that year. The other one has to be UTA or UTK.
Now, who do we need to call to make that happen?
Greg Sankey.
I'm down. I'm very down.
I know this is an Auburn podcast, but I will say I think Tennessee right now is probably in a better spot mentally, physically, athletically than Texas in football at the very least. But yeah,
McDonald's are awesome in Knoxville. Anyways.
And move on.
I did want to touch base before we move forward.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to talk one more piece here. In a 9-game slate, do you see? I mean, obviously, the SEC is a transfer portal hotbed for a given reason, and a location that other schools want to move into. Does that open the door for continued expansion? I think it does. Just because of the number of games, therefore you can rotate out more opponents. I'm looking at you, Clemson. I am. There's a lot of smoke, and it would make sense. Fellas, I'm actually going to start, Daniel. I'm going to start with you again. Just an immediate reaction there, and I understand that I kind of impromptu threw this at you. But does a 9-game SEC slate open the door for a continual expansion?
That's interesting. I would say so. Just because you're already playing more games, I feel like that would just kind of open the conversation to add another opponent in there. What I think will have more of an effect on it is once USC and UCLA hit the road and join the Big Ten. I feel like that would be more likely to spur some movement over just – I know you asked me if the 9-game schedule would, but I definitely think there's an avenue that would get us to that point, but I'm not sure if the 9-game schedule is particularly it.
I think it helps. Dylan, I want to get your thoughts because I also don't think that this is the final version of the SEC.
Oh, I don't think it is at all. And I thought it was funny that the first thing you brought up whenever you brought transfer portal hotspot, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Chancellor Anthony real quick just because that's our 40th transfer. When you talk about transfer portal hotspots, Clemson is nowhere near the first team to come to mind. They brought in like 2 transfers in 10 years.
I wasn't necessarily talking about Clemson in specific, but you know what I mean? I mean, like we know that it's a hot desk. The SEC is the place to be. It's semi-professional football. Like,
yeah, and you think about future expansion of the SEC and potential 20-team SEC. I would assume the first 4 teams that get called up are going to be either Clemson, Florida State, possibly Miami, and I think one of the North Carolina teams would definitely be the first teams you'd call up. And if you want to go steal some from the Big Ten, I mean, Ohio State was picking up phone calls from Greg Sankey. I mean, it's no longer the Southeastern Conference anymore at that point. It's just, I don't know what you would call it.
Well, I think Texas Tech would be interested, and I think that they bring enough to the table on other sports that I think that would be a phone call worth having in all honesty.
And partying too. Lubbock is a very big party city as well. But yeah, I think whenever you bring up the 9-game conference schedule, that screams revenue. And if there's one thing that schools care about more than winning, it's money. And if you bring in a Clemson Auburn game would sell out every time. Auburn Miami, Auburn Florida State, because just the historical factor of just those teams playing against each other all the time would just sell out no matter what. If it could be 3-9 and 3-9 playing each other, or 3-8, 3-8, whichever that going on. It would bring in a lot more revenue, and that alone makes it more appealing to like the Miamis, who, I mean, Auburn or the SEC already has, I think, like 4 of the top 10 most like the richest athletic programs in the country.
5 now that you add Texas.
Well, Texas and Texas A&M number 1 and 2. I think Alabama's up there, Georgia, and maybe Florida. I think.
Yeah, we're going to have to review those numbers that you were looking at because we're looking at different lists. But continue.
Yeah, I just know Texas A&M are 1 and 2, and it's just because Texas. But there's a lot more SEC teams going in there, and I think you fill out the entire SEC outside of Vanderbilt in the top like 20, 25. And And Missouri, yeah. But I
Not at
mean,
Mizzou, the intern that picked up my headgear goes to Mizzou, so good for her.
I mean, I respect Mizzou.
I didn't have talking about Missouri on my bingo board today, but I said Mizzou. There we go.
Well, yeah, yeah. Like you're just gonna go off with just reiterate everything. Yeah, I think it would definitely benefit everybody if with a 9-game schedule. And again, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and North Carolina would all be your first 4 phone calls made, more than likely to beef up all sports because North Carolina's really good at basketball
and baseball.
But just continue all to go on with the news. Derick Hall signs his deal with the Seattle Seahawks, 4 years, $9.116 million. And what I've been reading about this contract, it seems like they drafted a first-round pick in the second round, is how this contract sounds to me. Because the money, the guaranteed money stretches into his final season of his contract. Hall will be paid at least $7.2 million. Contract guarantees a signing bonus, base salaries for the 2023, 24, and 25 seasons, and $100,000 of 2026 is $1.9 million salary. And I think it calls for him to receive 85% of his signing bonus before he reports to training camp next month, an unusually high rate for his position in the draft. And I read that from AL.com. Just Derick Hall is going to be a stud. Just reiterating that, I would every episode I will say Derick Hall is going to be a stud in the NFL, and the Seattle Seahawks seem to agree with that fact because they are paying him first round money for getting a steal in the second round.
Agree. I mean, I'm really excited to see him in that Seattle defense.
And I would love to get one of those lime green Derick Hall jersey. That'd be sick.
Nice. Talk to me nice.
And let's see, rounding out the news, it seems like Hugh Freeze has the number 1 player in the state of Alabama considering flipping his commitment from the University of Alabama. Jaylen, Daniel, what was it again?
Mbakwe.
Mbakwe, there we go. 5-star cornerback has been a Bama commit since July of 2022. But in a recent interview with Auburn Undercover, it looks like he's really looking into what Hugh Freeze has going on in the Plains. And it sounds like he really wanted to go to Auburn when Gus Malzahn was here. But then, a certain coach in between Gus Malzahn and Hugh Freeze kind of pushed him off of the Auburn idea.
Oh, yes.
And, I mean, he's also looking to run track as well. And I don't know the stances between Auburn and Alabama's track programs, but I know
they're about the same.
Yeah. So it's really about where does he want to start year one? Because number 1 corner in the state of Alabama, one of the top ones in his class. That's something like a starter to me.
Probably.
Yeah.
And he says Auburn has a chance to flip, and he will be back in July for Big Cat Weekend, which is the biggest time to be an Auburn recruit right there.
Big time.
And just to wrap up the football, a special little announcement. Starting next Tuesday, we will be doing our weekly game-by-game prediction for the season coming up, starting with UMass on Tuesday. And on Thursdays, we're doing a position-by-position breakdown as well. Don't know what position we're going to start off with first, but let's just hope and pray that Auburn is finally done with the 2023 class.
Okay, time for Bagman with Beyersdorf.
Well, not quite. We got basketball first. And I think that Colin, who's your Bagman? If you want to go ahead and just do that.
Give us thumbs up or thumbs down, Colin. If it plays now, you want to play now?
Yeah.
I'll play now.
Okay. Well, we have to do the proper intro. You stay here.
I'll leave. No, it's fine. I can leave.
Okay, great. All right, be gone. All right. It's time for In His Bag.
In His Bag.
In His Bag with
Beyersdorf.
Bring him on in.
Oh, hey, guys.
That was so bad.
Dylan, that hurt my feelings.
That was not me.
They worked really hard on that.
No, Dylan,
You're just going to shoot it down like that?
Oh,
Dylan,
yeah.
Your feelings
It needs more work. Back in the gym.
I think it's perfect. I got to be honest.
Colin, do you like it?
I like it.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's all.
All right.
Well, Colin, who is in their hypothetical bag right now?
I'm trying to be like Ike. Ike Irish has blown up the Auburn baseball scene this year. He just got tabbed as an All-American freshman list, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So he started all 58 games for the Tigers this season as a freshman, which is crazy. And he popped on quick. He was batting like almost 500 going into SEC play. And he was just everywhere for the Tigers this season. He kind of like transformed himself halfway through, I felt. Like he was hitting hitting bombs to begin the season, and then now he's hitting for average. He's doing everything the team wants. He's getting hits in critical situations, and he plays catcher. I feel like people overlook that at him playing DH this year. This is Auburn's future catcher out here hitting 400 on a season, and that's something that Auburn has desperately needed the past couple of years, is a catcher that can hit, and it looks like they have found that.
It would definitely be a breath of fresh air to see a catcher get hits
Hey,
consistently get hits.
I'm about to say, only one here that is allowed to speak down on my boy Nate LaRue is me, and I owed him my apology. My man figured it out coming down the stretch. I'm super proud.
Nate hit bombs at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I'm super proud of him, and I really hope that MLB scouts took notice. Like, someone can fix that swing because he's a really talented defensive catcher.
Well, what is it?
He's one of the best.
He's a right-handed batter, but he's a left-eye dominant.
They can teach him to hit lefty.
But he joins the likes of Eduardo Julian as a former Auburn freshman All-American as well.
That's right.
So
Eduardo Julian of the Minnesota Twins.
Big up.
Steven Williams.
That's right.
That too. I tried to go far back and see how many have actually been there, but the article I saw only named 4.
All right.
I wanted all 20.
On my screen for too long, so goodbye, Colin.
All right, bye guys.
Let's go over to the hardwood now, Dylan. Now.
Yep. Talking about Chaney Johnson for a little bit from Huntsville, not Huntington, like I said so much on this show. He has won Alabama's Small College Athlete of the Year. I believe averaging 16.2 points a game at Huntsville.
Yeah, no, I'll read out the stat line real quick, and then I have a little bit of commentary. I'll let Daniel talk about how he fits in to this Bruce Pearl scheme if Daniel's cool with that. Here in just a second. His numbers from just a year ago, which by the way, I got a little editorialize here. I got to editorialize here in a second, but I guess let's just go career stats real quick. You'll see 88 games played, 67 starts, just over 1,900 minutes. Let's see, he's got a field goal percentage of .538, solid. Career three-point percentage of 37.2. Auburn fans will take that number. Had a little bit of a down year in 2022 to 23. Only shot 28.9 from beyond the arc. Yeah, you'll take that. In 21 to 22, he shot 464 behind the arc, and it's not that he didn't put up shots. He put up 68 of them. I mean, it's not that he didn't take shots. Like this is impressive. All that to say, and listen, any academic or athletic honors for that matter, either way, are impressive honors. Alabama's Small College Athlete of the Year. Honest to God, this is a new one to me. This is a new one, and I'm here for it. I'm pumped for him. I really am. But that's a new one for me. So Daniel, give me some feed in about how he fits into this Bruce Pearl scheme in 2023.
Well, we'll just kind of start from the beginning. The card room has a few open seats. So instantly there's that. I'm not sure if we're going to see him in the starting lineup or not. Probably. Okay. Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so, but just kind of wanted to test the waters and see how you guys thought about that. Not that I'm scared to make my own opinions. So 6'7", he'll definitely be a help grabbing rebounds. He won't be a solid little guard. So I don't know how he fits in from that perspective. Chaney Johnson, you are an Auburn Tiger.
Anyways, let's move forward and kind of wrap this thing up. I've enjoyed it tonight, guys. It's been a ton of fun. Daniel, let everybody know where they can find you, love you, and support you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke. I would love to talk to you all. So just hit me up there. You can check out my written work at Auburn Wire. I've got some very exciting recruiting stuff coming out in the next few days.
Yeah, my name is Harrison Tarr. You can find me at my Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. I will be honest, I'm not on it a whole lot right now. It's not personal. I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for reaching out. There was actually a good number of you guys, by the way, that listened to the show. And I forgot to mention that on the Tuesday show. Thank you guys so much that did reach out and check up on me. That meant the world to me. You guys are such a special community, and we appreciate the hell out of y'all. Like I said, I'm at my Harrison Tarr, the Bird app. If you want to check out any of my work there. If you want to check out some of the cool production stuff we got going on, we're unveiling our 80s jersey for the Make It Bacon this week. I designed it myself. I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm really, really excited for how that turned out. So you can check us out at Go Make It Bacon on all socials. And guys, I'm so proud of that 80s jersey. It is so cool. I will definitely show you guys a picture if I haven't showed you already. So, Dylan, let's get out of here.
And unofficially, Tarr will be getting me a free jersey, hopefully. Hopefully.
I designed it and I didn't get a free jersey. I had to buy it. So, no.
Well, that sucks. Well,
it does suck, yeah.
I'm doing Larck at your boy the Tank on Twitter. If you're watching, it's just like right there. Little right there. You can just take a little screenshot and copy and paste it if you can't spell it. But if you're listening, it's at YABOY the Tank. Go follow the College Loop on social media. You got us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. No MySpace, but 1,000 subs will get one. We're also getting real close to Daniel the Dance on TikTok. I think about 35 subs is what I think the number is at right now.
I know, man. We're getting close.
We're getting real close.
I forgot my part. Right? Like, subscribe,
25, 35 is.
We got our degrees. Don't do math. Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Leave us a good question. You will be featured on the show as well. And if you want to listen to us, of course, you got us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And with all that being said, it's been the College Loop Podcast.